All right. I think we are live here. So, hey, Dr. Packard, what's going on?
Hey, Michael, doing well, doing well. How about you?
Doing good, man. Well, thanks for bearing with me today. We're using new software, and as always, that's why we start early is make sure everything works. But it's great to sit down with you and chat a little bit today. It's our first Facebook Live for the YBC community here.
I love it. I love it. It's always good to connect with you, and excited to chat about some of this stuff today with you. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I just started scheduling these to make you talk to me more, so I'm excited to catch in a little bit too. Well, cool. Let's
Hey,
jump into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing little 15-minute, sit down, meet conversations. And I think today what makes the most sense is to really talk about you and just go back to the basics, learn a bit about, you as a person, you as a dentist and your practice, and then sort of how we all got connected to talk about your virtual consult. So I think my first question for you is, could you just kind of, give us a little background, tell us about yourself and really how you got into dentistry?
sure. I come from a larger family, and my large family has a lot of dentists in it. And one of them in particular being my dad. And growing up, he was just kind of always my hero, my idol. And so kind of wanted to be just like him. And I could tell because of the way that he was always able to coach my baseball teams and take us on little family vacations and be with me and my siblings. Being a dentist allowed him to do that, and I recognized that pretty early on. And so if I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player, dentistry was always plan B. So injuries took care of plan A, but man, I love plan B. So I went to Chicago for dental school at Midwestern University, and I did the Army HPSP scholarship for 3 years. So they paid for 3 of my 4 years of dental school, and I served our country in the Army for 3 years down at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and incredible experience, some amazing mentors, amazing battle buddies, and memories and relationships and friendships that will live on the rest of my life, no doubt. And one of them being Dr. Naz. She works with me here now as well, which is awesome. So Precision Dental happened right after the Army. It's a startup from scratch practice here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I had Ideal Practices help me kind of create and build this dream practice. My wife and I, blood, sweat, and tears went into this place to make it truly special and unique, and set us apart as more than just a dental office in Bowling Green, but something that kind of stands for something a little more meaningful and a deeper connection with our community through our GIVE, our special needs community, hashtag 20 for 20, which is a really special, unique thing to Precision Dental. That means a whole lot to me personally, as well as our entire team now. It is just integrated and interwoven into the DNA and framework of our team culture and what we stand for here. So absolutely love where we are today. It took a lot of hard work to get here. Anyone that knows startup practices knows that it takes, it's not for the faint of heart. And you got to just keep going, keep doing everything you can to realize that initial vision that you had before you opened your doors, and relentlessly pursue that. And that's what we've been able to do, and been really grateful for the connections that I've been able to make through some of the successes that we've had. And actually, that's where I remember when I first met you. I remember my first conversation with Laura was in the parking lot at Chewy's.
We still have to go. We've got to commemorate this at some point.
You got to. That'd be great. I remember when I first met you, it was actually at the Ideal Practices Startup Practice
Sure.
Blueprint in Las Vegas several years ago. And I remember we were talking and chatting about, Wondrist and Precision Dental and how that marriage has been fabulous from day one. I love the Wonder Buds, love everything that Wondrist has done for me, my practice, and everything that we stand for. It's been really a wonderful relationship there. And then at the Startup Practice Blueprint, you start showing me this other software, this platform, in your virtual consult. And we started this back and forth. You're asking me some questions. You're trying to get my thoughts and my perspective from a dentist, what I was seeing, how I could see this in my own practice, how would I utilize it, how would it benefit me, how would it benefit my practice, how would it benefit my patients. And that back and forth turned into an awesome partnership moving forward in more questions and more back and forth on how we can continue to perfect this platform and perfect this thing that is YVC and your virtual console. And that's kind of the backstory leading up to where we're at today, my friend. What a journey, right?
It's so funny to think back because, the many chapters that we've gone through, it's been fun to watch you grow your practice from doors not being open to, the successful 2-doctor practice that it is today, and so much in front of you, so many exciting things that we've talked about. But, of all the things that you just said, the thing that really stuck out to me, you described your practice and you did it quickly. And you didn't tell us how many chairs you had. You didn't tell us about the team. You didn't tell us about the technology. You jumped straight into a different type of practice and the connection with the community, right? I mean, that's so cool. I think that's been one of the things that's really made you successful is, having that higher mind for what is dentistry here for? Is it just about teeth? Is it about community? Is it, what is it about? And so, I think about our first conversations, and one of the reasons we were so excited to start talking to you is that interesting connection. Interest in saying, how do we go beyond the walls of these practice? How do we help people both from a dental perspective and from a community perspective? And so, I think that might be a good entry point to talk a bit about your virtual consult, what it is. And so, I'll just briefly, for anyone that doesn't know, I'll just kind of say, your virtual consult is a software product that's meant to lower the barrier for people who are interested in dental care, who are interested in some kind of treatment. It could be an implant, could be a denture, could be Invisalign, could be Botox, could be a lot of things. It's meant to lower that barrier because we know we're in an age of convenience that's not going away, right? I was driving last night, and I don't know, for those of you that know DoorDash, I saw DoorDash now has their own convenience store. I'm sure we can't walk into it, but it's like the drivers go there, they get their stuff, they take it to, it's like the world is getting more convenient by the day. And I think dentistry needs to focus more on addressing that need we all have. And so to be able to let someone communicate with the dentist by taking a photo, writing their story, and creating that conversation is incredibly powerful. How we do that, there's many ways. We can do it through DM. We can do it in a more sophisticated way. That's what we've strived to do. You could just do it through email, right? There's a text. You could do a lot of different things. Talk to me about how lowering the barrier to you, creating more access, has helped you sort of capitalize on this idea of community in your practice.
Sure. I'm glad that you picked up on that, Michael, because that's really what it's all about, right? I could sit here and I could talk numbers all day. I could share with you what our practice started with and where we're at now, and it's really awesome to see that and to take a step back sometimes and recognize that. But it really is connecting with your patients and connecting with your community. That's what your virtual consult was able to do for me and my practice in a more unique way. And it's a matter of time before I know all my colleagues around here have some form of ability to reach out to them virtually. Well, we have it, and we've gotten well over 100 leads. And what I have noticed is a huge difference between someone that's just coming in cold call, never really seen or met or heard me, versus someone that has seen and heard me and met me virtually through your virtual consult. There's already this trust that is built in to their first visit to our practice, that was established through a virtual meeting and me being able to respond to their needs and their wants. We've had everything from cosmetic dentistry, veneer cases come through. Actually, one of our patients here today, she's coming back. She was an incredible case that she's all over our social media now. She came from Atlanta through your virtual consult. So Atlanta to Bowling Green, Kentucky, right? And now her husband now comes here also. And he was also here today getting his scaling and root planing done and, getting an extraction and stuff. So it's one of those things where we've seen just comprehensive care, establishing care, all the way to veneer cases, clear aligner cases, Botox and Juvederm with Dr. Nas, and everything in between. And it's really neat because that's kind of, we're a general practice.
Right.
I've seen this work really well for niche practices, surgeons, cosmetic dentists, you name it.
Pediatric. I mean, that's been one of the surprises. You think about moms.
Pediatric.
You got questions. You want answers now, right? You want someone that will listen, right?
Right. And so it's allowed them to connect with us before they ever step foot in our doors or before they even call us. And so that's what I've noticed is that trust. And that is, if you're a dentist, that means everything. Because once the trust is gone, it is very hard, sometimes impossible, to repair with one of your patients. It's also difficult to establish that trust initially. And so you got to come in, you got to bring your A game. Every single time you come into a new patient experience or a comprehensive exam, and you're meeting this patient for the first time, you're putting on a show and you're bringing your A game. And you've already established that trust with a YVC patient, which is super cool because now they're just listening and ready at that point to do whatever it is that I think is what they need at that point. And then it's simply, okay, how do I get there? What do I got to do next? And so treatment percentages, case acceptance has just gone up a whole lot since introducing YVC.
I think 88%. It's nuts. And one of the cool things, and I remember this is one of the great learnings that you brought to our team. So, to back up, I started asking you all these questions. I could see, the light bulb kind of went on, and you were like, "Wait a second, what are you doing here?" And the really cool thing that you brought to us was it's not just about getting more leads. It's also about helping people make a decision and not waste chair time. And there are people that you've talked to that have said, "Hey, not for me." And you haven't had them sit in a chair and take 30 minutes, take 40 minutes and walk out and say, "Oh, I'll go talk to my wife at home or my husband at home," and your office is calling up. It's a great way to help people get the decision. Now, if that may make some people nervous, they're like, "Well, I want to have that knee-to-knee interaction in person." That's our best consult. But for people that aren't ready, it's such a good way to nurture. And I think it's important to take a step back and just talk for a minute because, I think people are starting to hear this idea of virtual consults more and more, but, the reality is there's a lot of different ways to do it. Right now, you and I, we're having a conversation live. And our platform lets you do that. It's really cool. We give you that ability. The core purpose of it is to save you that time, to save you that knee-to-knee conversation time. And what we do today is we let someone reach out. We call it asynchronously, right? They go, they type a little story, they answer some questions, and they send you photos. Now, are these photos going to be perfect for treatment? I'll ask you, Dr. Packard, do they have like the oral camera at home and they're getting you the perfect photo that you need?
Yeah, every time. Of course. No, it's, hey, a lot of times some are better than others, obviously. I'd say for the most part, they give you an idea of what is going on in their mouth. And because obviously the patient is trying to show you their issue, trying to get, you a good photo so that you can actually respond with some decent advice. But obviously, it's not meant to diagnose. It's not meant to tell them exactly every little detail that you would, this step, this step, this stuff, this bonding agent, this whatever. It's really meant to connect with the patient and establish that trust. And that's what I have found to be the most useful part of it. And one of the things that is really neat is before they come in, because of those pictures that they send and the description that they write to you, their story essentially, now you're already kind of formulating a bit of a plan. So you already have an idea of what the treatment plan may look like. And now it's just the logistics of truly looking underneath the hood with some radiographs, some x-rays, some good intraoral photos and things, and allowing that to further establish trust and sell the treatment plan to the patient.
Yeah, and it's so important. It's a conversation starter. It's so funny because we talk to some dentists and right away they want to make it a treatment tool. And you know what? In some cases, I think you can bend it in that direction. But most importantly, it's a conversation starter. And for most of our dentists, I think about what are the cases they want to do more of, right? It's implants, it's all on four, it's dentures, it's Invisalign, it's veneer cases. It's these cases that are more fun. It's more life-changing for the patient.
Yeah.
And it's hard to start that conversation. People have all these questions. How much does it cost? How long is it going to take? We call them objections, right? There's always those objections: time, money, education, fear.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. And so this is meant to overcome those. I think the important thing, that you showed us, we started to talk about workflow because, we're in our marketing brains, we're in our software brains, we're having fun. And you really, as you joined our team, and we didn't finish that story, we started asking you all these questions. You started pushing us, and we were like, hey, should we build this together? And it's just been awesome to have you join the team as part of the co-founder group and steer us clinically and say, hey, guys, this is the reality of what I need. And so I want to talk about workflow for a minute, right? Because there's a couple workflows. Yeah. One is you get set up, and I remember, a lot of the virtual consult stuff came out of the pandemic. Doctors had more time. It's like, hey, let's chat. I'm sitting there. Lisa wants to talk to me about dentistry today.
Right.
My wife doesn't, right? Now that everybody's back in their offices, I think people have less of an appetite for that. It's harder to say let's. It's something, again, live consults can be great for specific things. Aftercare, big cases, someone that's traveling far away, great. But in this case, you've got someone that can give you some really good information, and then you get to record a video and send it to them on your time, right? It's not live. It's not what we're doing now. You get to do it on your time. Talk to me about your workflow, because, you're getting a couple leads a week, and do you respond right away? How do you fit this in your schedule?
So this is one of the things that I've loved to see the evolution of your virtual consult when it comes to the workflow of things, because like you said, initially I'm responding to every lead personally, and because I had time to do that during shutdown and ramping back up after the shutdown and all that stuff. Now we're busier than ever, and it's tough to respond to individual leads, especially when you just consistently continue to see them filter in, which is awesome. I would never say, okay, stop sending me new patients. Like, that is not us. We are in growth mode, growth minded, and we love seeing new patients come through your virtual consult. We also love seeing new patients come through local med, and that was one of the things that I noticed with them. It was an automatic response for patients to get scheduled in our patient management software automatically, and I would get an email in the middle of the night saying that they did that, and I loved that. Well, now we can also do that with your virtual consult, which is awesome. We have it personally here at Precision Dental set up to where we have recorded responses to where now these recorded responses can automatically reply to leads. Sometimes I just don't have time to reply to all the leads, but I do want them to get a response. So depending on what they're reaching out to me for, I have it to where now they get that specific response for what they're reaching out to me for. And they can then schedule online. They can give us a call and get scheduled. And so that's a huge time saver for me. And the patient, potential patient and lead, now gets a faster response from me. I also have it to where it's a 24-hour delay. So because I get these emails as soon as the lead comes through, and I'll peek at it, I'll look at the story, look at the picture. And this recently happened. I think you remember me telling you about this. And I think I even showed it to you. It was a phenomenal story behind this individual. One where I knew I wanted to respond personally and go into a little more depth and detail based on all that she was willing to share, which I really appreciate.
That was a powerful story. Yeah. And when someone's willing to share that with you, you want to do the same thing in kind. You want to acknowledge that.
Sure. Exactly. Sure. Yeah. And so I was able to, take the auto response off and go in the following day and have my own response, a little more, specific to her and her virtual consult she sent me. So I love the flow now. You have the live opportunity like this if you want it. Yep. You have the personal response if you want to. You also have the automatic response, which is great when you're getting a lot of them, and it can, just how it's almost a filter allowing these leads to funnel into our practice, which is really neat. And one of the reasons that I always liked local med, and it's one of the reasons I like YVC even more now, doing a little bit of the legwork up front. It's like stacking the deck ahead of time and then letting the chips fall beautifully after that.
And it's for me, what we've started to think about this as it's video funnels, right? I think a lot of people have heard the idea of funnels. It's like, what's a funnel? It's something that nurtures someone to a decision. And a lot of times these funnels are automated because the reality is most of our dentists, most of our front desks don't have time to say, this person didn't accept treatment yet. I'll follow up tomorrow. 3 days later, 4 days later, I'll send a call, I'll send a text, I'll send an email. That's a lot of work. And so these are things that software can now do.
Yeah.
And what we've done is we've given our dentists, we've given you the ability to go in and a little bit of setup time, right? We've got our team, we've got Colleen. She's there to help kind of with the white glove, like, hey, how do we use this software? How do we get it set up the right way? And the great thing is you set it up one time. And then at that point, it does the work for you. And I like to call it a safety net, right? Because the reality is I want every one of our dentists to send a personal response at that virtual house call, right? You get to go. For me, what's the most powerful part? Saying someone's name. Hey, Michael, thanks for reaching out. I'm there. I'm like, oh, my God, this doctor took the time to listen to me. Nobody has done that. That is incredibly powerful. But that safety net's there because we get busy. And, we've talked to people that have tried virtual consults a different way. They've used somebody else. They said, I got 100 and I didn't respond. It was my fault. I didn't have time. I didn't know how. It was too hard, right? And so for me, having that safety net is huge. And then when you get that case, it's an all-on-4 case. Someone says, listen, I just want to restore my confidence. I want to be able to eat healthy. I want to do these things. You're going to find the time when you hear that. When you see that come through, you're going to find the time. So it's been such a cool evolution. For you, you've gone through this journey. You've become kind of obviously a power user. You're leading the charge, I think, both for our community and then across the country. What's your advice to someone who's just saying, what the heck is up with virtual consults? I keep kind of hearing about them. How can I use this in my practice? What should I expect?
Yeah, I would say that it's a matter of time before most dental practices have some form of virtual consult software or platform of some kind in their practices. It reminds me a lot of this online scheduling. When it first came out, it was like, hey, this online scheduling thing, cool, okay, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Everybody's worried, is it going to take over my schedule?
Right.
It's all the negatives, right? It's always the negatives.
Right.
What if it goes somewhere I don't want it to go? And at the same time, but I want more patience. Yeah. So.
Yes. And then same thing with that. Like they worked the kinks out to where now you can put a little more upfront work to where, hey, I only want people to schedule here or here, and they can only be for this or for this. And there you go. It's set up. It's ready to rock. And you got online scheduling. And I don't know many practices now that don't have it. It's just the way it is. It's the same thing with virtual consultations. A lot of this stuff has been worked out and perfected. And now being able to have one more avenue for patients to connect with you, the doctor, the team, and establish that trust with you before they come into your practice, with the convenience added to it, it is going to be a no-brainer. And the majority of dental practices across the country are going to have it. It's just whether or not you want to be more on the front end of getting this incorporated into your practice so that you're comfortable using it, your team's comfortable using it, and your patients are, potential patients start using it also and see that this is a cool, unique, fun way to reach out to the doctor, reach out to the team. And and then it just becomes a part of your practice year after year, month after month. And it just, again, generates these leads, these potential patients, and they're the best kind of patients. They're the best kind coming through here because of the trust that they know you. They've heard your voice. They've seen your face already. So that would be my advice, would be to just put together a plan on how to move forward with it and incorporate it into your practice sooner than later, because it's just a matter of time. For most, I would say the majority of practices are going to have something like this in their practices.
And for me, it's like, what a great way to be different, right? In your market, there's all these dentists, everybody's saying the same thing. Use it, be different. It's just such a great way to jump ahead. Well, awesome. Listen, thanks again for sitting down with our version of the Need conversation today. If someone wants to, DM you or look you up on Instagram, how can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me either through, Precision Dental BG on Instagram, or Dr. Brian Packard, DrBryan Packard. You can DM me through either one of those, and happy to respond to any questions you might have about the platform or about how I'm using it in my practice and how my team uses it and helps me keep up with it as well. So, happy to help in any way I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, guys, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you guys are interested in learning more about the platform, sitting down with someone from our team, you can go on our website and you can schedule time. That's going to be yourvirtualconsult.com. And Dr. Packard, it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you. I think we should do this more often. What do you think?
Likewise. I would love to. Thanks, Michael.
Great. All right. Seeing you, buddy. Thanks so much. Let's see if I can figure out how to end this thing. All right.
All right. Bye.
All right.